Caleb Williams hasn't said that he's turning pro, but he's missing USC's bowl game, so let's be real, he's turning pro. The Dodgers will rebuild their infield with Mookie Betts as a foundational piece, and Dylan Brooks continues his quest to be the Big Lots version of Draymond Green. Good morning, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. And holy crap is it morning. It is December 5th, 2023. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri for a couple of more days. Miserable for every moment. Such is life. But like I keep telling you guys, what makes you happy in times of woe? What is your North Star when lost in the wilderness that is the Bible Belt, that is the Midwest? It's LA Sports. So clickety-clack the like button if you like to be in the know about LA Sports. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. It's for the greater good. Hey, what do you say we look at the scoreboard before we go to the news and notes? There were no games involving LA teams yesterday, but tonight, yeah, I'd say it's a couple of good ones. Phoenix is in town. They're going to play the Lakers at 7 o'clock. And the LA Kings will be in Columbus at 4. Anze Kopitar, by the way, passed Marcel Dion to become the Kings' all-time leader in assists with 758. But let's get to the news. So, good news, bad news. We'll get to the bad news first. Why not? We can deal with it. Lincoln Riley said that Caleb Williams will be skipping the Holiday Bowl later this month. He did not say that as a result, Williams is declaring for the NFL draft, but let's be real. If you're not playing in the bowl game, that's the big hint. Williams is gone, guys. Now, Miller Moss is going to start in his place. And the thing is that what intrigues me is not Caleb Williams going pro. Because at some point, we all knew we'd be seeing Caleb Williams playing on Sundays, right? Right? So that doesn't intrigue me. What does intrigue me is what this means for the immediate future of USC football. Because, okay, fine. You know what? Mr. Williams, thanks for the memories. Thank you for the Heisman. But I'm telling you, can Miller Moss make an impact? He's served as the understudy for a variety of quarterbacks at USC. It's not just Caleb Williams. Jackson Dart comes to mind. Not JT Daniels, the guy after him, Keaton Slovis. So this guy has been waiting for his turn for years, toiling in the darkness. And now he gets his shot. And it'll be interesting to see, because he's a traditional pocket passer. But USC runs the air raid, which doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of pocket passing involved. So can he actually make an impression? Because we do know that Riley is, in fact, looking at the transfer portal for quarterbacks. There was a story that broke a couple of days ago that he allegedly flew out to meet up with Will Howard of Kansas State. So there's an option for the next year, if not Moss. And for that matter, what about Malachi Nelson? Remember him? Arguably the number one recruit in the land. Now, he didn't play football last year for the Trojans, obviously. One, he wasn't going to supplant Williams. But of course, he also had surgery. And it's been kind of a slog for him to recover. So yeah, there's questions abound. That's going to hopefully get some illumination when the Trojans play in the Holiday Bowl. I'll tell you something else, though. I was reading a couple of interviews with Lincoln Riley, and we had been talking all off-season long, not this off-season, but the one prior, that the first school to sanity would be the one that gets better off. Which one is actually going to be doing things like embracing defense, line play? UCLA wound up doing that better than USC. They just didn't have the offensive skill to match up with a lot of teams. As a result, they're in the Rob Gronkowski Bowl. Meanwhile, Lincoln Riley, to his credit, it sounds like he's experienced a come to Jesus moment. He has been saying, we have been saying, I should say, that you can't build an offensive line through the transfer portal. You can get individual talent in the transfer portal, but the idea of welding together a cohesive offensive line, that is 5 different men who have to function as one unit in order for the offense to move. When Lincoln Riley came to Heritage Hall, he had an offensive line gift wrapped for him. You know, they did not give him a whole hell of a lot to work with when he first came to USC, but he did have an offensive line. Last year, he had to try to rebuild it on the fly, went through the transfer portal, and you know what happened. But this time, Riley is saying that they would be less reliant on the transfer portal for offensive linemen. So at least on that level, not relying on the portal for linemen, getting yourself quality, or at least fundamentally sound defensive coaching, I think USC might be turning a corner in the offseason. Not saying they're going to the college football playoff, but turning a corner, absolutely. The big news out of the winter meetings is that Mookie Betts is your new Dodgers second baseman, according to Dave Roberts. At least Roberts is saying, quote, it's pretty safe to say, unquote, that Betts is now the Dodgers second baseman. Now, Betts did play second base in the minor leagues, and he was more or less prohibited from playing the infield when he reached the majors for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is the idea that it's a little safer to play the outfield than having people barreling into you while you're trying to turn the double play. But the Dodgers had necessities last year to make the playoffs. Therefore, Mookie had to come in. So your new middle infield for the Dodgers is likely Mookie Betts and Gavin Lux. Betts last year, by the way, finished second in MVP voting. So we don't necessarily know what's going to happen with a lot of other questions the Dodgers have for the offseason. But I can tell you Betts is at second, and as a result, Jason Hayward is likely your everyday right fielder. Just letting you know. Yesterday, we were talking about how the Houston Rockets are desperately, and I mean desperately, thirsty to replace the Memphis Grizzlies as the number 1 ranked player hater for the Los Angeles Lakers. Houston, I mean, last year, Memphis could not shut the bleep up about how much they hated the Lakers and this, that, and the other while they were getting punk slapped all throughout the first round of the playoffs. Now, this last Saturday, we're seeing Houston's coach getting tossed from a game from yelling at LeBron. Now, of course, Dylan Brooks, former Grizzly, he had to chime in with his 2 pesos about LeBron and the Lakers. He blamed the officials for what happened when the Rockets lost to the Lakers on Saturday. Blaming the officials. Enjoy your fine, dude. Enjoy your fine. I mean, seriously, it kind of blows my mind, right? There's a lot of people out there in the NBA who love to talk crap about the Warriors' Draymond Green for being an agitator. But at least Draymond Green has his rings, right? He's got a jewelry collection. Dylan Brooks ain't got no rings. Dylan Brooks gets his jewelry from a swap meet. What are we talking about here? He sure as hell ain't getting it from the NBA commissioner. That the Houston Rockets, the modern Houston Rockets, talk way too much junk for having absolutely nothing to stand on. Craziness. But if you want to make your living by basically telling everybody how much you hate LeBron James and the purple and gold, go for it. Many clubs have tried to fill that role. Doesn't mean long-term success, guys. Not when you're clowning the refs. There is reporting from The Athletic that the Lakers are hoping to keep an eye on Utah. They're anticipating that the Jazz will implode and hold a fire sale. To which I ask, who the hell on the Utah Jazz do the Lakers even want? I mean, sincerely, Utah's backcourt is made up of two Laker retreads. The Lakers gave Jordan Clarkson a chance to play in LA. The Lakers gave Talen Horton-Tucker a shot to play in LA. Neither of them could cut it. So this is not exactly difference-making, championship-defining talent on the Utah Jazz. I know. I worked in Salt Lake City. I saw a Jazz game this year. That's not a good basketball team in the slightest. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua was injured twice on Sunday, and we now have a better idea of what's up. He has a sprain in his acromioclavicular joint, which, by the way, is awfully painful. The acromion and the clavicle, they meet about here. There's a little bit of muscle around that joint, and if muscle gets caught up in that joint, when you start moving your arm up and down, that muscle gets pinched. Very painful. Very, very painful. But the Rams still expect Nacua to play versus Baltimore on Sunday. Nacua jacked up his shoulder, I should say, in the second quarter on Sunday. And we're finding out that aside from being a potential rookie of the year, he's just a flat out tough dude. He makes this spinning catch Sunday, just a wonderful effort, winds up landing awkwardly, had to leave the game for a little bit. He was asked after the game if he felt dead after the play. Quote, a little bit, unquote. A little bit dead? A tidbit dead? A smidgen dead? Let me tell you guys, after the news industry imploded and I lost my sports writing job, I wound up working in healthcare. I work in hospitals. I'm here to tell you, I have yet to see a little bit dead. I've either seen alive or dead. There's not really a whole, despite all that talk you hear about going to the light, there's really not a big gap between alive and dead. Puka Nacua, resident tough guy. By the way, Tyler Higbee is day-to-day with a neck injury that he suffered on Sunday as well. There is some dude who runs a blog, a very emotion-based blog on the Chargers called Bolt Beat. And I'll be frank with you, it's something I don't read because I'm not that deep into hyperbole. I try to spit facts to you guys, frankly. But here was a headline that I saw that kind of caught the attention. Chargers must finally realize that Austin Eckler is no longer an RB1. You think? I've been leading this parade for 2 years. Austin Eckler has never been an RB1, let alone whether or not he's one now. The guy's never had a 1,000-yard season. Dude didn't even break 25 yards on Sunday against the Patriots. Everybody keeps looking for reasons to point to why the Chargers could not win in Jacksonville in the playoffs. You want to know one of the primary ones that don't get talked about? All the Chargers had to do was kill clock by running the football. Translation, there's a lot of blame that you could put on Austin Eckler's shoulders. And the guy's running around out there thinking that he's Derrick Henry, thinking that he's Alvin Kamara, thinking that he needs to get this giant bag. Stop it, Austin Eckler. Stop it. But as for Bolt Beat and everybody else, welcome to the party, pal. Something I've been saying now for 2 years. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the immediate future of USC football, particularly with Miller Moss under center. Talk to me about the Dodgers and if Mookie Betts, while not necessarily as big as an Ohtani signing, while Mookie Betts moving into second base permanently may be a good or a risky idea. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.